What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the HiFishGear warehouse. I am here to fulfill a promise. In my last video, what is in my Whip Sling XL? I had said if that video made 2,000 views, I would make a video showcasing every single rod and reel that I own. I just hauled them all from my house, dusted them off just for you. I'm going to go through every single rod and reel that I have, 11 reels and 14 rods, and tell you what I use them for. This isn't so much just to flex. I'm not trying to just show off. I figure that there's some entertainment value, and there's also some value in helping everybody decide what rod and reel to get and for what purpose. I hope that this is entertaining to you. I hope that some of you get something out of it. And here we go. I have rods here that are for short casting, for dunking, bait casting, dunking, whipping, plugging, ultralight, kayak, small boat. Yeah, that's a whole lot of stuff right there. I don't know exactly where to start, other than I guess we'll work backwards from some of the rods that you might be familiar with watching our YouTube videos. So the first rods and reels I'm going to show you from my arsenal are my dunking rods. These are a matching pair of 13-foot 3-piece Okuma Hawaiian custom surf rods. Unfortunately, these rods were discontinued last year. So folks from Okuma, if you're watching, definitely bring these ones back. They were starting to gain traction right before you guys discontinued them last year. Great rods. They're kind of like Ulua poles for spinners. That's one of the reasons why I really like these rods. And the compactness of a 3-piece rod. One of my main perks for getting these rods were when you have them broken down, they'll fit in the back of my truck. The Ulua poles that I have, the top halves are pretty long, and they won't fit diagonally in the back of my truck. So these ones are my go rods. Like when I'm going for a road trip or something, these are the rods I like to bring. They're easy to set up. These 13-foot rods are rated up to 50-pound test. I've got 40-pound test on these spinners. The lure rating is 250 grams, which is just shy of 9 ounces. So you can throw 7s or 8-ounce leads on them, which is great for a spinning rod. Another reasons why Okuma, seriously, if you're watching, bring back the Hawaiian custom 3-piece rods. They're great rods. I was able to pick up a matching set of these used. I had stainless steel butt caps installed on them, so it'll extend the life of the rod where they're not coming in contact with the hard metal sand spikes that I have. I put pairs of Battle 3 8K reels on them. These are the current model Penn Battle 3s. I have them spooled up with 40-pound test monofilament, and these are primarily my dunking rods when I'm going from anything from medium to heavy game. If I ever hooked up a big Ulua, I know that I'd have a fighting chance with these reels and these rods. All right, the next set of rods and reels that I have are my bait casting rods. These are custom wrapped medium heavy nitros. Nitro no longer makes blanks, but back in the day, the previous distributor did make blanks. And I had, at the time, a set of black medium heavy nitro blanks sitting in the shop. Right when we got word that the previous distributor was going out of business, Ibisasaki was the name of the company. They were going out of business, and they weren't sure if the nitro line was going to continue. When I got wind of that, I immediately sent these rods out to get custom wrapped to my specs to make sure that I had a nice little piece of history. Luckily for everybody else, our current distributor picked up the brand, and they still could distribute nitros every year. This was a wrap by Gilbert Madriaga of Mad Wraps. And also it showcases, number one, nitros. And then number two, I had a set of Newell G344s that I had tricked out with Tiburon frames and spools. I also have on them custom star drags from Tiburon. And I had Brock Fee, who is a local fabricator, make up a matching set of handles for them with a black plastic handle, circle knob. And this is probably one of my nicest sets of rods and reels, custom wrapped, and also just recently repaired by Trinity Rods. I crashed my rod pretty bad broke a couple eyes, and he was able to get it back to original immaculate condition with a little bit of a reglass. So shout out to the original rapper and the guy who repaired them. The rods are the same specs as the current model Nitros. They're rated 40 to 50 pound test. You can cast 7 to 8 ounce lead on them, no problem. These are my Oio Papio rods. Of course, you can always land an Olua on them. The reels, I normally have spooled with 50 pound tests. Currently, there's 40 pound test on them. I dropped the line down. Back when we were filming Hawaii Goes Fishing, I wanted to make sure that the line had a really deep line capacity when we were droning out lines. I kept the 40 on until just recently. Now I'll be switching back over to 50 that drones are no longer able to use in the state of Hawaii. So this is my bait casting setup. And next I'll show you my slide bait and paddle out rod and reel combos. So next up is my heavy game rods. These are Oluopos Nitro heavy action, rated up to 60 pound test. They're 13 foot long. There's a 60-40 split, meaning that the top half is longer than the bottom half. They're rated up to 60, but you should have no problems using 80 pound tests, which is the reason why I have these, and I have my reels spooled up with 80 pound tests. When I was droning, I would use these reels for that, but now they're just basically, if we ever get a big bait that I want to paddle out, or if I ever get a chance to go slide baiting again, I will have these rods in my arsenal ready to go. The reels are USA-made Pen 4.0s with Tiburon Hawaiian wide kits. They are the deepest line capacity, widest kits you can get for any Pen 4.0. They are compatible with the Red Plate USA-made and the Red Plate China-made reels. And then, of course, on these reels, I have old aluminum knobs that we used to sell. We no longer carry them. I was contemplating upgrading them to Gomexus, but I really like the look of these old school knobs. And it's one of my, I really love these rods. They're probably the oldest rods that I own out of my arsenal. And these reels actually serve a double purpose, which is leading into, now that we've covered my dunking and my bait casting, my slide bait rods, these reels actually serve a double purpose for a set of my the first set of my boat rods that I'm about ready to show you. This set is a prime example of me multi-purposing reels with different rods. That's the reason why I have 14 rods and 11 reels. This is a good demonstration of this. These are my Oluopo reels, my Pen 4.0s with Hawaiian wide kits, and I have them paired with 5'6" Pen Mariner stand-up conventional rods. These are for my my small boat. I own a dinghy that is beach launchable with a little 10 horsepower motor, and sometimes I like to run it off of Eva Beach. This is for when I want to troll some big lures. These are nice sturdy rods that can handle trolling bigger lures in deeper water. And these are just basically a nice rod and reel combo to have when I need it, when I decide to go out in the boat again. I don't have to go out and buy all new stuff. If one of my friends invites me on a boat and they don't have any good trolling stuff, I can bring these along. The reels are spooled with 80. The rods are rated up to 50. I just, you can do that. You just have to keep in mind to make sure that you're not like really hammering down the rods, because the line on the reels is stronger than what the rod is rated for. They're nice rods. They have metal gimbals on the bottom, nice, good, strong foam grip on the top, and they make fighting fish in a small boat pretty easy. They have roller guides on the tip and on the first one. The rest of them are ceramic guides. And they're just basically a nice rod to have in case you ever need it. And plus multi-purpose. All I had to do was invest in the rods. I already have the reels, so I like the two birds with one stone action. These ones don't see as much action because I have another set of boat rods that I really like, and I'm about ready to show them to you. These next rods are another great example of multi-purpose. I can use them on my boat. I can use them on my kayak. They're 6'9" medium action Shimano Therese rods. Back in the day, these were kind of like the high-end rods, and these were bought as a treat for myself, for my kayak. And they also extended, anytime I go bottom fishing on somebody's boat, one of these comes along with me. Or if we go bottom fishing as a group, I bring both of them so somebody else has a good rod to use. They're paired with Shimano Saragossa 5Ks that have 6K reel upgrades, and they're spooled with 40-pound test tightline braid. They are like kind of like a universal. They work for every aspect. You can use them for live baiting, bottom fishing, inshore trolling. They're kind of like my universal one-piece deep water rods, and they work really well. The reels actually serve a double purpose as we start getting into my shoreline casting rods. I will show you how I use one of these reels for the next rod. All right, so this is my plugging rod. This is a 9-foot Penn Battalion first gen that is rated up to 3 ounces. The current gen has the exact same specs. 9 foot because I didn't really want a super long rod. 3 ounces because I don't throw big lures a lot. And I paired it up with the Saragossa 6K. Works out really well. I have the reel spool with 40, even though the rod's rated up to 30. That little slight difference is not a big deal. Just got to remember, when you have a reel that's spooled up heavier pound test than what your rod's rated for, you've got to be conscious of it. Make sure you're not overpowering the rod. I use this rod primarily for testing out heavier hammer bombs. When time comes and I need something a little bit heavier than my Tikka, this is my go-to rod. And it doesn't see a lot of action, but it is a nice rod to have in my arsenal when the time comes, or when I need to throw, when I want to test out a lure in that 2 to 3 ounce range. I have it ready to go. And then now we're going to get into the remaining of my shoreline casting, what we consider whipping rods, and we'll work our way down all the way to my ultralight. All right, so this is probably one of the most talked about rods in my my arsenal. This is my 10'6" Tikka salmon steelhead. Whenever you guys ask me what's the best whipping setup, my personal opinion, this is it right here. This is years in the making. This is the first brand new reel that I ever bought. This is a Shimano Stratic FJ. It was originally a 4K, but somebody came in and had a broken 5K, and I took the parts from it and threw it right on my 4K. Now I've got a 5K. And it, like I said it in the previous video, it brought a second life to this reel, and I love it. It pairs up so nice with my my Tikka 10'6" medium heavy rod. This is the second Tikka 10'6" that I've ever had. I had the previous navy blue model. When they came out with the brown one, it was perfect timing because the eyes on that one were starting to rust out. I've had this rod for a few years. It works out really well. It's rated up to 1.5 ounces, and 1.5 ounces pretty much is like what I like to consider a universal whipping rod. You can throw heavier lead. You can throw the big bubble full of water. You can throw hammer bombs unleaded. In fact, hammer bombs unleaded were designed around the specs of this rod because I love the rod so much. I wanted something that could throw that heavier weight and handle it, no problem. I have the reel spooled with 30-pound test. Rod is rated up to 25, so it's not a big deal, not a big difference. And most of the time I'm running leader on it that's anywhere between 10, 15, probably max 25-pound test anyway. So I'm not really worried about overpowering the rod because I have 30-pound test on it. It's just a great all-around rod. If they're not always available like they have been, you can grab a rod with similar specs and it should work just as fine as the Tikka. Hopefully Tikka will get there together, and we'll start seeing the 10'6" back in the market here shortly. So that is this is probably the rod that gets the most use. This is my grab and go, my all-around whipping. Anytime we do a spin to spot where I might get a chance to whip, this definitely comes along with me every time. All right, so here's another popular rod from my arsenal. I talked about it in the last video. This is my Fenwick HMG travel rod. It is a 3-piece rod that has 2 different tips, and it has 2 different actions. One is a medium, which is the heavier of the 2, and one is the medium light. The medium you can cast up to 3/4 of an ounce. The medium light you can cast up to 5/8 of an ounce. It is paired with a Stella 3K. And before you go, oh, but are you giving Stella? No. This one is something that I procured, I think is the right word, through a series of trades and sales where I wound up getting this for a very, very nice price. And I couldn't pass it up. It did originally have what I consider a little hitch in the giddy, and it just means that it had a little something wrong with it. When you would reel it, you would feel like a little grr, 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 grr. And over time, it actually kind of fixed itself. It no longer makes that little grr, and it's evened out to be a great reel. One of my favorite little setups, just because it's so convenient to just take places with me. A lot of times I'll have it stashed in the back of my Jeep or in my truck. You know, when the occasion arrives where I get a chance to go fish, it's nice to know it's there and ready for me. Pair it with my Whip Sling XL, and I can pretty much fish anywhere on the island and have a couple different options. With the 5/8, I can go for a Kule or Hallelujah if I wanted to. 3/4, small bubble, small hammer bomb. I can whip it and bomb it out. Just a great all-around setup, and one of my favorites out of the set. All right, this last rod and reel in my arsenal is something that I probably wouldn't have bought for myself. This was a gift from the HiFishGear staff to me. They gave it to me last year. I haven't been using it as much as I'd like to, but me and Wallace and Jesse have been talking about doing some ultralight fishing just to kind of, for content and just to go out and have some fun. So hopefully this year, 2023, this rod will see a little bit more action. It is a 7-foot 2-piece Major Craft Solpara. It is the Aji rod, SPX 702 Aji. It is rated up to 10 grams. 10 grams. I can't even fathom, like, I tried casting it on a couple different outings. You know, when you match it up with something like 12 grams, you get a good distance, especially Castmaster, a solid heavy lure. You get a surprisingly far cast with it. I was kind of shocked when I got that kind of distance. But, you know, like I said, it's not something I would have normally bought for myself, but I did. It means a lot to me because the staff surprised me with it. It was kind of cool. They all pulled their money together to pick it up for me. It's paired with a Shimano Vanford 1K. I think Wallace just got himself the same setup, so we're going to be out there fishing with the same setup and see what we can catch this year when we do some ultralight fishing. I just want to say, I've been offered free rods from a lot of different companies, and it's not, no offense when I turn it down. As you can see, I have a lot of rods and reels, and I pretty much got everything covered, you know, until either I wind up getting a big boat or a new style of fishing comes out that I might need a new style of rod for. I'm good. I'm set up. I can't think of another rod or another reel that I need, which is great because I work in a tackle shop. And as you guys know, when you come into my shop, it's tempting. It's always very tempting. But when you've got your rods and reels on lock, when you've got everything kind of hopefully figured out, and you've got some of the best of the rods that you need, it's great to know that, you know, hey, I don't need that. No, I'm sorry. You know, hey, I appreciate the offer, but I'll have to pass, man, because it's not going to get used. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tour of my fishing arsenal. I hope that you learned a little something from it. I hope that you enjoyed it, at least. And if you did, please make sure you leave a like. And also, if this is the first video that you've seen from us, please check out some of the other videos that we offer here on the HiFishGear, some of the lives that we do 4 days a week. And yeah, hope you just stay tuned for more content. Mahalo for watching. Aloha.